So just setting up for this evening's class. Kelly's going to demonstrate each of the poses for us tonight. We're going to begin in this Supta Baddha Konasana. You can see Kelly has soles of the feet together and the feet are resting on top of the bolster. If Kelly brings her knees together, you can see that she slid the strap on the outside of the thighs. She's going to show you how she got into that. Slides down into the hip crease. It's crossing the front of the feet there and sitting kind of low down below the belly. You can decide if you want a blanket underneath the head, perhaps an eye pillow or a cool flannel across the eyes. And just letting the arms rest on the floor there. Or you could place the palms onto the belly, feeling the weight of the arms resting. And just starting to settle. Just feeling the breath flowing in and out of the nostrils. Cool air on the inhalation, brushing past the nostril tip. And then releasing the heat from the body as the warm air leaves the body on the exhalation. Releasing a little more heat from the body. And you simply just be here, inhaling cool air on the inhalation. Exhaling warm air out of the body. If it feels comfortable, the eyes just gently closing. And as you find your breath, just letting the eyes settle now. As if the eyeballs are becoming heavier and they're resting back a little more into the eye sockets. Shifting from looking externally, external vision. The internal vision is opening. You're gently resting the gaze at the back of the eyelids. And the eyeballs are resting back into the eye sockets. And the skin across the forehead is softening and releasing. And between the eyebrows, as if melting like butter, softening between the eyebrows. And releasing from the inner edges of the eyes down into the ears. And from the ears, softening into the jaw. And the tip of the tongue just resting there gently at the back of the teeth. And you could slide the tip of the tongue around the front of the teeth, swallowing and releasing the front of the throat. And coming back, finding the breath there at the nostril tip. Cool air as you inhale. Warm air on the exhalation. Releasing a little more heat from the body. And feel the breath now fill and spread and open the belly, navel rising as you inhale, softening and releasing as you exhale. Inhaling, breath moving into the belly, filling and spreading, opening the front body. Exhaling, releasing, belly softens, chest softens, and the back of the body rests back a little more. As you inhale, breath moves into the belly, but also fills up the back ribs. Inhaling, feeling the back ribs pressing into the floor, spreading and opening at the back body. Exhaling, releasing. The pelvis becomes a little heavier, a little more grounded. And feel around the whole pelvic bowl. Let it rest. Let it become soft. Notice if you're holding or gripping around the pelvis, around the buttocks. Release there a little more on your exhalation. Feel now the pressing together of the soles of the feet. And feel the weight of the feet resting on your bolster. Thighs, knees descending. Your hips opening. Let's take a fuller breath into the belly now. Inhaling, feeling the belly, back ribs, little lift of the chest and spreading of the collarbones. Exhaling, exhaling, releasing the exhalation slowly. And as you find your next inhalation, the knees will slowly come together. You can start to press down through the feet as the knees come together. I'm going to just remove the strap and lengthen the legs out, resting the backs of the knees onto your bolster there. And just be here, Shavasana, pausing, finding a sense of rest, sense of release. Now feeling the heels pressing into the floor and the weight through the backs of the legs. Sense of grounding through the back of the pelvis. And releasing and letting the shoulders become a little more quiet, as if all the muscles around the shoulder blades are softening now. The arms are becoming a little heavier. And feel the weight of the head, heavy like a sandbag. The muscles around the neck able to soften. You can notice the weight of the hair. Let the scalp release. And just be here. A few more breaths. And now we're going to bend the knees and place the feet onto the outer edges of your bolster. So the feet are coming wider than the hips, resting on the outer edges of your bolster. And you're just going to press down into the heels and lift up the toes and the balls of the feet. We'll take an inhalation. The arms can come up at shoulder height now, the palms towards the ceiling. Arms resting on the floor at shoulder height. Take an inhale and then exhaling, knees over to the right and pausing there. The heel, yeah, if you need to go onto the side, yes, yes. So you're rolling onto the inner edge of the foot, like you are.
The hip, yeah.
Oh, the hip, no, the hips are grounded. Just let the knees come to the side. Oh no, your hips are up. Your hip can come up. Yep, let it slide up. And if you'd like to place the right foot onto the outer edge of your left thigh, just ease the knees down a little further. Release the foot. Inhaling, knees come up to the center, and exhaling over to the left with the knees. And either staying here with the knees to the side, or if you want to pick up the left foot and rest it onto the outside of your right thigh. Releasing the foot. Inhaling, knees come up to the center. You're going to just make your way over to the right side. Rolling over to the right, you can just push your bolster away. You can pause there for a couple of breaths. Resting the head, resting the knees. And as you're ready to come up, making your way up, we're going to come forward in Adho Mukha Virasana. So the knees come wide, the big toes are just gently resting together at the back. You're going to press or sit the bottom onto the heels. The hands come onto the floor. And we're lengthening forward, sliding the fingertips towards the top edge of the mat and resting the forehead onto the floor. Adho Mukha Virasana. Getting that sense of length through the spine, from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Forehead resting on the floor. You can start to spread the fingers, pressing down through the whole rim of the palm of the hand, into the fingers and into the fingertips. Getting a sense of length from the little fingers down into the armpits. And from the armpits down into the outer hips. A sense of lengthening back. Broadness across the back of the sacrum. And as you inhale, feeling the back ribs spreading and opening. And as you exhale, getting a little more length from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And if you draw the chin in towards the chest, you'll feel a little bit of that pulling of the skin across the forehead up towards the hairline. As you tuck the chin slightly towards the chest and lengthen the back of the neck. And just finding your next inhalation, we're going to release, walk the hands back, lift up the chest, coming up. From here, we'll make our way into a supported back bend. So you're going to have a bolster behind you. Just going to grab a blanket. You might need a little bit of height underneath the back of the head. You decide what feels comfortable for the neck. Kelly's just going to sit her bottom in front of the bolster, but it's not kind of pulled right in close to her buttocks. There's a little bit of space there between the bottom and the bolster. And as she lies back, it's the back ribs that are resting there on the bolster. And finding something to rest the head on, folded blanket, cushion, if you're practicing at home. And just feeling that opening of the front ribs. So whatever height is feeling good, is feeling comfortable for the back of the neck, taking that height to rest the head. And the knees will stay bent, at least for the first few breaths. Depending on the bolster shape. If the bolster is hard or soft, that will kind of determine how strong this pose is. If it's feeling too strong, a folded blanket will do, maybe not so much height underneath the head. Can feel a little stronger in the morning, this pose, when the muscles aren't so warm. The body's not as supple. If the lower back is feeling okay, maybe the legs lengthen out and you straighten the legs, lengthening, resting the legs on the floor. Just move there slowly, straightening one leg, then the other, seeing how that feels for the back. A few options that you could also play around with is bringing the legs into cross legs. And again, this is going a little stronger into the hips, probably a little stronger into the back body. And if you're in cross legs, now changing the cross of the legs, the opposite shin will come in front, releasing the knees wide again. And just feeling the breath moving in and out of the belly. Feeling a sense of opening at the front of the body. Feeling a sense of release and rest through the shoulders. The shoulders may not be touching the floor, and that's okay. But let the shoulders rest. And let the breath flow. As you find your next inhalation, we're going to bring the knees together now, placing the feet back onto the floor. Yeah. Pausing here. And to come out, you're going to roll to the right side. And you're just going to slide that bolster away. And then you'll roll back onto the back of the body as you feel ready. The knees can rest together and the feet can come wide to the outer edges of the mat. Feeling a sense of spreading across the lower back, across the sacrum. Just letting the back body settle. From here, if you don't have a strap, just rolling over, coming up and making sure your strap is nearby. We're going to come back to lie on the back. You can have a blanket underneath the head, especially if the shoulders are tight. Just have that strap so you can reach it. The knees are going to stay bent with the feet onto the floor. And we're going to inhale and draw the right knee into the chest. And on the next inhalation, we're pushing the knee towards the hands, just the knee, and then exhaling, drawing the knee back into the chest gently. That's it. Inhaling, pressing the knee away. Exhaling, drawing the knee into the chest. And you repeat a few more times. Inhaling, release the knee. Exhaling, squeeze the knee into the chest. And if you've got your strap nearby, that strap is going to now go around the ball of the right foot. You'll straighten your leg into a kind of variation of Supta Padangusthasana. The left knee will stay bent with the foot onto the floor. And as we inhale, that heel will release slightly away from the head. And on the exhalation, you're drawing the toes a little closer towards the head. So just playing, it can be a very subtle movement. Inhaling, just releasing the heel away. Exhaling, drawing the foot a little closer. Just finding a little more stretch at the back of the leg. And if you'd like to, you can pause now for a few breaths, letting the body settle, resting the shoulders back. Right leg is straight, the left leg is bent. And just notice if you're gripping anywhere around the fingers, around the wrists, around the shoulders, the jaw, just let it soften. The eyes are soft. And then let's take both straps into the right hand now. You can reach up high with that strap towards the foot. Take an inhalation here and exhale the right leg out to the right side. Not coming to your maximum. Maybe kind of halfway, 3/4. And then inhale, let's draw the left knee into the chest, holding the left knee with the left hand. And then you're going to release that knee out to the side at the same angle as your right leg, feeling a sense of grounding through the whole back of the pelvis. So we're resisting, rolling over to the right, and that left leg is almost grounding the whole back of the pelvis. You're right as you are. You can bring that left knee out to the left a little more. So the legs are at the same angle. And you're feeling the whole back of the pelvis should feel grounded. If it feels too much, just release that foot. Yep, exactly. No, the knee is bent as you were. And they're on the same angle. Yep. If it's too much, release the foot down to the floor. And let the left foot rest on the floor if you prefer. And then inhaling, right leg comes up. Can bring that left knee in, Release the left knee down. So now the strap is going to come around the heel of the foot. And we've got one strap in each hand. You're going to internally rotate that right leg now, right thigh. And then the right foot is going to cross over the midline of the body and come slightly over to the left side. Yeah, that's it. So the toes of the right foot look like they're pigeon-toed. And the right foot is slightly over to the left. And that left leg, you're going to internally rotate the leg. So the left toes come pigeon-toed. And you're going to cross that left leg over the midline of the body towards the right. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Have a look towards Kelly. Yeah. You were right. Yeah. So the right leg is crossing over. Yeah. And then the left leg is crossing back the other way. So it's, yeah, like you're in this cross. And you should feel the back of the pelvis spreading. You feeling that? Keep pressing down to the left foot. Yeah. And we've got the strap around the heel and you're pulling the right heel as if down towards the right hip. Let's take one more inhalation here. And on the exhale, you can release that leg back to the center. Release the left knee. And you're just going to let both legs come out long, unhook the strap, release the legs. Let them rest. The belly be soft. Let the eyes close if they want to. And then as you're ready, we're bending the knees up again. Feet come onto the floor. And you can inhale and draw the left knee into the chest. Find your next inhalation and the knee presses away. Exhaling, draw the knee into the chest. Inhaling, releasing. Exhaling, drawing the knee back into the chest. And just playing with this. Inhaling, exhaling. And then you'll find your strap. Strap is going to come around the ball of the left foot now. Straightening the left leg. And as you inhale, there's a little releasing away of the heel. And as you exhale, there's a little drawing towards the head of that toe, the foot towards the head a little more. Inhaling, just release the heel. Exhaling, drawing the foot a little closer. And this can be a very subtle movement. Slowly working into the backs of the legs. Inhaling, release. Exhaling, draw the foot towards the head. If you'd like to just pause there now for a few breaths. The shoulders rest. Let's take both of the straps now into the left hand, reaching up high onto the strap towards the foot. Take an inhalation and then exhaling that left leg out to the left, slowly compress down into the right foot. And if you haven't, I should just cue this, slide that strap to the arch of the foot rather than the ball for this one. So legs coming out to the left. And then you can draw the right knee in towards the chest. And then that is also coming out to the side on the same angle as your left leg. Yeah, so releasing that knee out to the right. You can still hold it with the right hand if that feels comfortable. And you're feeling a sense of grounding down through the whole back of the pelvis, especially on the right side. More support, a little bit better. Need more height. Yeah, good. Taking a last breath here. And we're going to inhale, the left leg comes up. You can release the right foot down. One strap in each hand now, let the shoulders rest back to the floor, the elbows can bend. We're going to find that internal rotation on the left leg. So the toes as if they're coming pigeon-toed. And then just crossing over the midline with the left foot. So it's coming slightly over towards the right side. And the same thing with your right leg, internally rotating the right leg and just letting the right knee cross over the midline to the left side. Yeah, that's it. Internal rotation. Should feel a sense of kind of spreading. So keep pressing down into the right foot. And you're firmly holding the strap as if you're drawing your left heel down into the left hip. And ideally, strap now is around the heel. And as you find your next inhalation, releasing the leg back to the center, letting the knee come back. Unhook the strap, exhaling, and you can release both legs out on the floor. Just being here, a few breaths, shavasana, resting the arms, at the sides of the body, or you can place the palms onto the belly. Just breathing some softness into the belly. Inhaling, and on the exhalation, releasing across the front of the chest, releasing across the lower back. And when you feel ready, rolling to the right side, making your way up. We're going to come into a supported child's pose. So pause on the side as you need to, make your way up. You'll need a bolster. You could also have a long folded blanket on top of your bolster. So Kelly is sitting her bottom onto the heels there. The knees are coming wide. The bolster is coming between the legs. And she's also got that long folded blanket. So it's as long as the bolster, and she's drawing that in towards her hip crease. So it's coming a little bit closer to the body than your bolster. You're taking an inhalation, lifting up the front of the body, lifting up the front ribs, and then exhaling, she's making her way forward, lengthening that whole front body over to support. And just resting the head to the side, whatever side feels comfortable for you. Yeah, that's it. And just playing around with the placement of the arms. Do the elbows come a little wider to spread and the backs of the shoulders and release the shoulders a little more? Do the fingertips need to come towards the bolster edge? Or do the hands need to come at more above the elbows? You can play around with the placement of the arms, just seeing and noticing how it releases the shoulders. And then also resting the head, is the ear more towards the center of the bolster or the blanket? Or are you sliding the ear towards the left or the right to release the neck a little more? And then as you've made these little adjustments, and starting to settle, finding the pose now, just letting the breath flow. Feel the weight through the front of the shins. Feel the weight into the forearms. Letting the hands rest, the fingers be soft. Feeling from the inner edges of the shoulder blades down into each elbow a sense of release, as if making more space between the shoulders of the back body. And inhaling, finding the breath move and spread the back ribs, opening both sides of the body, right side, left side. Exhaling, releasing, sinking a little more into your support. Feel a sense of broadening across the lower back and across the back of the sacrum. And each time on the inhalation, there's a filling and a spreading. The whole of the back body. And a softening, folding on the exhalation. And if you'd like to, feels comfortable for the neck, inhaling and just lifting up the head and turning it to the opposite side, just gently, mindfully placing it back down and releasing back into the pose. Just be here, breath flowing. Any thoughts arising, just floating away into the distance. We're not here for the thoughts, we're here for the breath, so tune into that. Be here, the whole body breathing. Finding your next inhalation, receiving the inhalation, just allowing the exhalation to follow. And on the next inhalation, slowly coming up, pressing into the palms, starting to peel the front body. You can release the head back to the center as you make your way up slowly. You might just want to pause there for a moment, sitting onto the heels. That's it, lifting the spine. The eyes can stay closed. You can rest the hands onto the thighs. From this next portion of the class, we're going to do a pelvis realignment. So you'll need to have a strap and a block close by. We'll begin with the strap. And we're just going to lie back onto the back. To begin with, we're going to have a strap around the thighs. It's going to be more towards the knee end of your thighs. Your inner groins and your feet will be together. And you can just clear the mat of any other props. Kelly's getting there now. You can have a look towards her. Strap is firmly around the thighs, feet, knees, and inner groins are together. And we're more towards the knee end with the strap. Just waiting for a few of you to get into position, just lying back. So we'll come into a few of these variations. We're going to repeat each one 3 times each. For this first one, we'll be pushing out into the strap with the knees. That's going to come on the inhalation breath, and you're only going to come to about 20% of your capacity. As you exhale, you're going to slowly release. So I'm just talking you through a little bit of the instructions. So on the inhalation, and before we press out into the strap, you're going to press down into the inner edges of the feet, inhaling and pressing out into your strap. And you'll gradually build that up to 20%. And as you exhale, you're just going to release that slowly. As you find your next inhalation, pressing down into the inner edges of the feet as we press out into the strap. Gradually over the inhalation, working up to about 20% capacity. And as you exhale, releasing that off. We'll repeat this one more time. Inhaling, pressing down into the inner edges of the feet and pressing out with the thighs into the strap. And exhaling, releasing that off. So the next two exercises are very similar to this one. So as you're ready, we're going to loosen the strap, and this time the feet and the knees are going to be at hip width apart. So your strap will now be at hip width. Don't come wider than the hips with the knees and the feet. That's it, firm with the strap. And we're going to repeat the same exercise. On the inhalation, pressing down into the inner edges of the feet as you press out into the strap. Exhaling, releasing off. Finding your next inhale, press down into the inner edges of the feet as you press out into your strap. Exhaling, releasing. One more time. Inhaling, press down into the inner edges of the feet. Press out into your strap. And exhale, release. Let's be here for a few breaths. And as you're ready, we're going to loosen the strap a little more. The feet and the knees are going to come wider than the hips now, just slightly wider than the hips. Repeating that same exercise. Inhaling, pressing down into the inner edges of your feet as you press out with the thighs into your strap. Exhale, releasing. Inhale, press down into the inner edges, press out into the strap. Exhale, releasing. One more time as you're ready. Inhaling, press down to the inner edges of the feet, press out into your strap. Exhale, release. So just be here, a few breaths. We're going to slide the strap off now. Just have it close by to you. We'll come back to that one in a minute. You're going to grab your block now. And we're going to start with the feet and the knees wide. And that block on the widest width is coming between the knees. That's it. Yep. On the widest width. I'm just going to get Kelly to show towards the screen with the block, just so she can show that wider width. Yep. Between the knees. And this time we're going to be squeezing the block on the inhalation, and you'll be pressing down into the outer edges of the feet. So as you're ready, finding that inhalation breath, you'll press down into the outer edges of the feet as you squeeze that block together, building up to about 20%, and then exhaling, releasing off slowly. Repeating 2 more times. Inhaling, press down into the outer edges of the feet and squeeze the block. And exhaling, release. 1 more time. Inhaling, press down, outer edges, squeezing the block. And exhale, release. So we're going to gradually become shorter and shorter with the distance between the knees. Flipping the block now to that next width, the kind of middle width, that's it. Block between the knees. Repeating this same exercise. Inhaling, pressing down into the outer edges of the feet as you squeeze the block together. Not too strong, we're only at 20%. And as you find your exhale, releasing off slowly. Inhaling, press into the outer edges of the feet as you squeeze the block. Exhaling, releasing. 1 more time. Inhaling, pressing down to the outer edges, squeezing the block together towards between the knees. Exhaling, release. So let's flip that block. So we're coming to the narrow edge now between the knees. You're going to repeat that exercise 3 more times here. Inhaling, you squeeze the block and you press down into the outer edges of the feet. I'm going to let you do that in your own time, 3 repetitions. And exhaling, you'll release off the pressure. One more time at your own pace. Inhaling, press down into the outer edges as you squeeze the block. Exhaling, finding that release. And as you finish, you're going to remove the block now. The knees and the feet and the inner groins coming together. Repeating the same exercise without the block. Inhale, squeeze the knees together and press down into the outer edges of the feet. And exhale, release off. 2 more times at your own pace. Inhaling, squeezing the block. Exhaling, releasing. One last time as you're ready. And for this last part of the exercise, we're going to combine those 2 movements, adduction and abduction. So Kelly's going to place her block on that middle edge. If you don't like the middle edge, you can flip it to the narrow edge. You can decide, so either the middle or the narrow. And we're also going to have the block now. It's going to come around the thighs again. It's kind of holding the strap, sorry, coming around the thighs, holding the block in place. So we can do both of the movements. Don't have the strap too loose that when you press out into the strap, the block is going to fall. Ideally, the strap comes around the block as well as the legs. Yeah, let you all get that ready there. So as you inhale, you're going to press down into the inner edges of the feet as you press out into the strap. So inhaling, pressing down into the inner edges of the feet and pressing out into the strap, and just finding the exhalation and releasing off. Next inhalation, we're going to be squeezing the block together as you press down into the outer edges of the feet. So inhaling, you squeeze the block together and press down into the outer edges of the feet. And then you're going to flip to the next one. Exhaling, you release. And as you find your next inhalation, we're pressing out into the strap and down into the inner edges of the feet. That's it. Exhaling, releasing. Inhaling, you're going to squeeze the block as you press down into the outer edges of the feet. We've got one more repetition. Exhaling, release. As you find your next inhalation, pressing down into the inner edges of the feet as you press out into the strap. Exhaling, releasing. Inhaling, pressing down into the outer edges of the feet as you squeeze the block together. Exhaling, releasing. Just letting the belly soften now. Letting the pelvis settle. And if you'd like to, this is an option. You could release the hands down, the arms down, and you'll just press the bottom up just into a gentle bridge. So you press down into the hands and the feet and just lift the bottom up into a gentle bridge on the inhalation. And exhaling, releasing down. This is not a full bridge, just a gentle version. Before we come to the next pose, just to let that pelvis settle, you're going to remove your block, remove your strap. You roll over to the right, and people here in the studio, you're going to walk around the studio. You guys at home are going to walk around the room. Let's go for a little wander. Let everything settle back and adjust as it needs to. Just go gently. And while you're kind of on your little journey around, you're going to grab a chair. Those of you at home and in the studio, just grabbing a chair. We're going to have 3 blankets. So if you need to get a few more blankets at home, an extra cushion or some towels, some thick blankets. Ellie is showing you how we're going to prop the legs. Are we doing a 3-fold for this one? Yeah, so Kelly's got a 3-fold. For those of you working with her, you'll know that's how we put the blankets back into the pigeonholes at the end of class. So 3-fold, she's stacking, you're going to do 2 high or 3? 3? 3 high. And this is going to be up to you how high you need it, depending on how tall you are and how long your legs are. For some people, 2 is going to be enough. For those with longer legs, the 3 will be enough. Kelly's got a bolster that she's placing there at the bottom of the chair. The bottom is coming onto the bolster like we would in our Viparita Karani, legs up the wall. But instead of the legs up the wall, our calves are resting there onto our blankets. So you try if it's the 3 blankets or 2. If you're at home, you could use the couch. And you can see where she's positioned the bolster there at the back of the body. And her sitting bones are kind of dripping over that back edge. The bolster is also kind of connecting there to her lower ribs. If that is not feeling okay for the back, it's kind of feeling a little uncomfortable, you can always slide the bolster. Kelly's just going to demo that more underneath the buttocks, towards the sitting bones, towards the chest. So you can modify that as needed. Just settling now. You might feel really a sense of heaviness through the legs, resting there on your blanket. You might feel a real sense of heaviness through the back of the pelvis. And just let that whole pelvic bowl soften. Let it rest on the bolster support, the legs resting there on your blanket. And we're releasing a little more through the back of the pelvis. Arms resting on the floor. And you decide where you're placing the arms. So the shoulders can relax. The arms more above the head. The elbows bent and the arms resting to the sides. Can you feel the breath flowing? Breathe some softness into the belly. Let it spread and fill with breath on your inhalation. And as you exhale, can you settle, sink back a little more into the bolster? Pelvis sinking. And the eyes can just softly close. And let the eyes rest. And let the gaze just softly rest there at the backs of the eyelids. And you can just notice what's happening there, that screen at the back of the eyelids. Are there colors showing there, patterns, light? Start to notice. Let the brain soften. As if the brain is sinking back into the skull. As if your awareness is drawing back, away from the thoughts. The thoughts starting to fade away. Be here with a soft breath, soft brain, soft mind. And if you're happy here, you've found your final resting pose, you've found your Shavasana. Please stay as you are, not disturbing the body. But if you feel like now you'd like to lie back, you could just release the legs of the chair. You could slide that bolster away so it comes to rest behind the knees, just slowly pressing the chair away from you so you can slide the legs out long and rest the backs of the knees onto the bolster there. And if you're happy as you are, be here. And just simply be here in your final resting pose, in your Shavasana. The breath is soft now and subtle. You can feel the cool air on the inhalation, warm air on your exhale. Just allow your awareness to gently rest upon this breath, moving in and out of the nostrils, brushing past the nostril tip. Just coming back to the breath flowing in and out of the body. A gentle rise and fall of the navel with each breath. And if you're practicing at home, the option is to stay a little longer here in Shavasana. If you've got the time, the space, take that opportunity. If you're feeling ready to move, ready to come out, just bending the knees. If you need to, remove the bolster, sliding the bolster away. And from whatever position you're in, just slowly coming to the right side as you feel ready. As you come to the right, be there. Rest the head and the hands on a blanket. Rest the knees. And just take what you have gathered throughout the practice, take it into the next moment. Don't just leave it all behind. And just coming up to sitting as you're ready. You can sit in crossed legs, you can sit on a blanket or a bolster. You can have your eyes closed or the eyes open with the gaze soft. Just closing your practice however you need to. But I'll invite you to press the palms together in front of the chest, coming into prayer position or Anjali Mudra. I'm just feeling the palms resting there in front of the heart. So a little sense of lifting from the tailbone to the crown of the head. The shoulders are quiet and soft. Find your next inhalation. And as you exhale, you can bow the head. And slowly open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you, those in the studio. Thank you, those online. Take care, take rest.